I lost 50% of my weight, then I overheard my fiancé say something that made me drop his ring on the spot. Posted by you/branch butt. Buckle up. It's long, and I'm sorry about that. I, 28F, and my fiancé, 32M, have been together for 5 years. For the sake of anonymity, I'll be referring to him as John. John and I have had a wonderful, loving relationship for these past 5 years, and I truly saw myself with him for the rest of my life. We've had our ups and downs, but not once has John ever made me feel like I wasn't enough. He supported me in all of my endeavors and dreams, and our relationship even survived 9 months of being long distance when I was sent to another state for work in 2021. I truly love John, and even now, I still love him, but I have my doubts about how he feels about me. A little context: I grew up fat. I was fat when we met, and for the first 3 years of our relationship, I was fat. This was never a problem in our relationship, but it was something I struggled with personally. I wanted to be healthier and lose weight because I knew it would make me happier. John was supportive of this. He said he'd love me no matter what form I took because it was my heart and soul he had fallen for. I believed that, as I had no reason not to. John had always made me feel loved and desired. But now, I have lost half of what I weighed before, and at my age, due to being overweight my entire life, I have plenty of loose skin. I am absolutely insecure about it, and John knows this. He has made every effort to reassure me that he still finds me beautiful and that he looks at my body as evidence of how hard I have worked and how far I have come. He reassures me that he still loves being intimate with me and loves my body, even as it has changed. I felt so lucky to have a man who loved me so unconditionally. Recently, John and I went out with a bunch of our friends, as we had not been able to align our schedules until now. Whenever we go out with a big group like this, John and I usually spend the beginning and end of the evening together at the party. At some point in the middle, we always split off to socialize with our friends separately. When it was time to rejoin John, I saw him with his best friend and a couple of others, engaged in conversation. John's back was to me, and his friends were all chuckling about something as I approached, but I stopped dead in my tracks when I heard John tell his best friend that my body looked like a deflated weather balloon and that it was hard for him not to laugh when we were intimate and my body moved. I had never expected the man who spoke so warmly and lovingly to me to talk about me in such a way. John was the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. He knew my insecurities and still loved me anyway, or at least, so I thought. Needless to say, I was hurt, angry, and devastated. I walked up to him, handed him his ring without a word, and left. I didn't even go to our home. I went to a hotel and stayed there. I turned off my phone and took a couple of days to cry out my heartache. When I turned my phone back on, there were messages and voicemails from John and our friends. Most of John's messages were apologetic, begging me to talk and come home. But then, the most recent ones were the opposite. He said I was cruel and cold for ignoring him and breaking off the engagement without warning or so much as an explanation. When I responded and told him I had heard what he said, John told me that I was acting like a child because I took his joke too seriously, that he was just trying to make his friend laugh. I asked him why he needed to make his friend laugh at my expense by telling him about my body, how it looked to him, or how he struggled not to laugh at me when we were intimate. He didn't respond. Instead, as I'm writing this, I am still receiving messages from our friends telling me that he is sorry and that I should see how miserable he is without me. That I am so cold and a jerk for running off like that instead of giving John a chance to explain himself. I'm hurt. I genuinely don't know if I was too rash in breaking off our engagement, but the only thought in my head, and what is still sticking with me now, is that when I was fat, people mocked me because of my body all the time. I lost the weight only to still have people mock me because of my body. And it just so happened that the one person I allowed to see me at my most vulnerable showed me that. I know John is hurting, or at least seems to be, but so am I. Should I have heard him out? 5 years, and I didn't even give him the chance to explain or truly apologize. I just shut him out immediately. I still love the man, those feelings don't go away overnight, but I don't want to hear his apology. I don't want his explanation. I'm just angry and hurt, and my friends seem to think I'm throwing away my relationship over something easily fixable. Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter: so you blame him for seeing your body the same way you see it and for admitting the truth to his friends? Being a supportive partner does not mean being in denial of reality. It just means they should still love you anyway. Sometimes, that means giving people a chance when they speak a truth, even if it hurts us. So anyway, good luck with finding someone else. Genuinely hope it works out for you. OP, I do not see my body as a deflated weather balloon, and I do not feel the desire to laugh when my body moves during intimacy. I'm insecure about the loose skin, yes, but I have never described my body in such a way. Is making a joke about something I am so insecure about to other people who do not need to know the details of my body, and knowing that he is telling jokes that directly contradict the words he has spoken to me, feels like a betrayal. If he sees my body in such a way, he has had many opportunities to tell me, as I have given him the space to do so. I am under no illusions about what my body looks like. It is not a denial of reality to ask that my partner not mock my body to other people, knowing that it is an insecurity of mine and that I would not want anyone else to be that aware of my body's imperfections. John is by no means perfect in every way, but I have loved him like he is because even the most imperfect parts of him were perfect to me simply because they were his. I would never have done what he did. Edit to address your own edit. I have only asked for reassurance once, to clarify, and since he told me he still wanted me, I did not ask again because I trusted that. He has been more than comfortable telling me when he has had issues that might hurt my feelings because we both advocate for communication. This is the first time I have not upheld that desire to at least hear him out when something was wrong because it is the worst he has ever hurt me. Commenter 2. Can the friends who think this is easily fixable explain how it gets fixed? Ops insecurity is about her body. She worked hard and lost weight. Her fiancé decided to crack a joke not just about Op's insecurity but specifically at the times when that is on full display, when Op would need validation the most. How is Op supposed to get intimate with John from here on out without feeling low? Let those friends explain that, because I am really lost on what their logic is here. Op, see this as the warning it is, and heed the warning by walking away. Look at it this way, if you had not walked up to them, you would have forever been the butt of their jokes and been oblivious to it. Now that you know what you know, you have to wonder, what else has John used about you to make himself feel better? Break up, and remember something, flabby skin is temporary. It goes away. A little more hard work, and you will not even have a memory of it. Your dignity is forever. Let John have his laughs. You keep your dignity. Well done on the weight loss. I'm still struggling with the gut. Commenter 3, NTA. You can never unhear those words, and if you gave John a second chance, they would play in a loop in your head anytime you try to be intimate with him. Save yourself the long-term heartache and dump him now. And congratulations on getting rid of all of the excess weight. Update. 3 days later. First, thank you, all of you. Every one of you who offered solid advice and even just kind words. It has meant the world to me. Second, I have left John. I do not intend to go back or try to fix things when it is not my responsibility to do so in the first place. And it is not something that can be fixed anyway. A lot of you said it would be hard to forget what he said, and you were all right. I saw him once just to move my things out with the help of my brother, truly my hero in all of this, and despite his apologies and begging me not to go, all I could hear was his joke and the way he laughed when he said it. It was like that was all I would ever hear from his mouth, no matter what he actually said. I told him that if he truly loved me, he would have never treated me like a joke, and that was the last thing I said to him. He has tried calling, but I have blocked his number. I'm staying with my brother, and John has been smart enough not to come by because my brother told him that if he stepped onto his property, the only way he would be leaving is in cuffs or a bag. John seemed pretty intimidated by that, thankfully, so I feel safe here. Going forward, I know I will be okay. I'm going to take time to focus on myself, move, and work toward my own goals. I think it will be a good way to let go of this relationship and what could have been by reminding myself of who I am outside of it. Thank you again. John knows about that letter. It was something I wrote at the suggestion of my therapist to help me resolve my thoughts about a boyfriend I had before John, someone who used to make me anxious when I did not receive a response. John actively supported me in writing it because he knew it would help me get the feelings out and say the words I wished I could have said to that man. He is even the one who suggested I post it on the unsent letters subreddit because, and I quote, it is the digital equivalent of putting a letter in a bottle and setting it adrift at sea. Maybe it will reach him, maybe it will not, but at least you will have let go. We were very happy and supportive of each other. He has just done something now that I cannot look past or forget. By the way, the letter that was posted 4 years ago was not written 4 years ago. It was written about 2 months after John and I got together. He and I had a long-standing friendship before our relationship began, so he knew all about the ex-boyfriend and how everything went down. A year into our relationship, I found the letter while we were clearing out old things in my apartment, and we had a good chuckle about it. He encouraged me to post it on the unsent letters subreddit as a final farewell to the letter, that chapter of my life, and as a way to show that I was free of it and doing much better. Those of you who are hung up on it are free to speculate about how that makes me an awful person or whatever it is you believe, but I am secure in the truth of it and what actually happened. I never expected people to latch onto something from 4 years ago and somehow use it to justify their harsh opinions of me and their presumed narrative, but hey, it is the internet, that is what people do. I should have known. Anyway, aside from that, I appreciate all of you for taking the time to listen, offer your words, whether they were kind or not, and for simply letting me feel heard. I wish every single one of you success and good tidings. Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter, Uda, honestly, sounds like John dodged a bullet. Yes, he made a joke at your expense and should apologize and never say that again. But if this is your level of foot out the door when something gets tough, then your marriage would have been a failure anyway. Marriage is hard. It is even harder when someone has their foot out the door for any slight that happens. I never had my foot out the door. I was all in with John. I gave him the opportunity to apologize over the course of this, and he never did. He continued to act like I was overreacting to a joke. This was not a case of marriage gets tough. The real marriage gets tough moments in our relationship were when he lost his job, and I solely provided for our relationship for 4 months. Or when we had to be long distance because I had to travel for work for most of a year. Or when I was so depressed after the death of a close friend that I never left the house. Those were the tough times, and we were there for each other. Not once did either of us make each other feel bad about any of it. I never mocked his insecurities to my friends. When he lost his job, he was so convinced he was a failure and a poor excuse for a man. I never did or said anything to reinforce that line of thinking because it was not true. I do not need to explain my choice to you, but there was no writing on the wall before this. John taking the biggest insecurity I have and making a joke about it to his friends was a direct contradiction to everything he had ever said to me about it. Instead of making an actually funny joke, he decided to strike my most vulnerable point as a joke. And he doubled down on that instead of genuinely apologizing. I have the self-respect and dignity to know that I do not want to be with someone who can mock their partner's insecurities to others, and then have the audacity to tell their partner how they should feel. I will not respond to anything you say if you reply to this, but funnily enough, I know you are not him, yet you have said a lot of the same sentiments John did. Commenter 2, I am floored that he is mad you will not let him explain himself. What is there to explain? He said what he said. Block the numbers of any friends defending him as well. Commenter 3, you/branch but, I have to say that I am impressed by the size of your ovaries. Not meaning to sound condescending in any way, shape, or form, but here on Reddit, you read so many stories about people from all walks of life who take whatever nonsense their partner hands them, because they love them so much, especially if they have been together for a while. Hell, sometimes even 6 months is enough for them to lay their dignity on the floor. I love the way you love and respect yourself enough that you do not take that man's disrespect and nonsense. Indeed, someone who truly loves, appreciates, and respects you would never make a joke like that, especially to others. On to better things, up.